something with all your heart, and she will come to pass. I see miracles, I see miracles happening. I see miracles, I see miracles, I see miracles happening. Believe it's so long and hard. You believe in something for your heart. It shall come to pass. I see miracles. I see miracles. I see miracles. I see miracles.
Hello, happy Saturday, everyone. Happy Saturday. If we haven't had the pleasure of meeting virtually, my name is Patrick Jackson. I am so excited to just be the presider, just opening up this experience today. We're on part 2 of our Life After Divorce series presented by Perfect Order Worship Center. I'm so excited to see how this conversation continues down the line. This is the perfect time where, before we get started, you can share this conversation on your timelines. We want this message to be shared across the masses. And we're so grateful that even in the time of this seeming pandemic, we have the opportunity to continue to fellowship, to have conversations about how we can continue to live the life that we deserve as we continue to manifest that life with God. I'm so excited to present both of the speakers today. They're both dynamic spiritual leaders. And I'm so excited to hear what they have for this part 2 conversation. So please give me some virtual welcome, give me some virtual thumbs up, some hearts for Pastor Latanya Moss and Dr. Darrell R. Pulley. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Facebook. Good morning. How's everybody on this happy Saturday? Here it is. You see your hair, you're looking for like which piece it is. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning. Good God morning.
All right, good God morning. So we're coming back from, I guess it's been about what, maybe
Been
5 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, it's been a
Okay.
month.
So it's been about definitely a month, but maybe I was thinking maybe a little over a month that we came to you, and we got a lot of feedback from people wanting to know more and wanting to know what was next and how to go forth and how to really unpack this. And so we had 7. Do you remember the 7 that we discussed last time, Dr. Pulley?
Yes, we had our 7 Ds last time. We talked about divorce. When you're hearing 2 different voices. We talked about division, when you're seeing 2 different visions. We talked about disagreement, that how can 2 walk together except they agree. We talked about the actual death of the marriage, the development of who you are as an individual, separately. We talked about the decision, the actual final decision that you make to get a divorce, and we didn't get a chance to get to the details. So that's how we got to part 2 with exploring the details of life after divorce.
All right, so we're going to talk about those details today, and I guess there were a couple of people who, in the chat, there are a couple of people who on the DM after. I don't know what you have received, Dr. Pulley, in terms of people speaking to you, but really asking for, very specific questions of how to do it and how to unpack it and how to be able to move forward with it. And so what about you? Did you get anybody coming back to you seeking some questions in terms of that?
Well, I got a lot of shock and awe. People were
Okay.
shocked that I was sharing this story because I had never shared it before in that type of detail. I got shocked that you and I were sharing a platform together, just you and I. I know you've been a part of the Kingdom Conversation before, but just the 2 of us sharing a platform together, and people just kind of like deers and headlights, just kind of shock and awe. So that's what I got a lot of.
So not so much more, because there are a whole lot of people who don't know our story from that perspective. So these were, I guess, people that are known, or people who know us or know about, I guess, whatever. But for strangers, people who don't know our story or anything like that, they're looking for the advice or the information. So regardless of whether you are shocked and awed, deer in the headlight, regardless of which perspective you have in terms of being here, hearing the information, or how you're going about doing that. We're glad you're back, if you're back, and thank you so much for coming back. Patrick, I forgot to give you. Patrick is going to give y'all our Cash App, and I forgot to do that. So Patrick, I'm gonna text you mine. I know you probably know Bishop Pulley's, and so that you can put up that information too. For anybody who is blessed by the broadcast or anything that we're doing on this morning, please, by all means, it's Christmas time, so I'm not even being shy about it. It's Christmas time, just sow a little seed. So we can do some Christmas shopping, because you were blessed by what it is that we are endeavoring to unpack for you this morning, in order for you to prepare yourself for the road ahead, or the decision. Because as we talked about on last week, it's not necessarily a decision that everybody is making. Some people can find from the conversation an opportunity for them to stay, that you would also get some tools that you don't have to divorce, but that you might want to stay in the marriage and see that the marriage can recover. But for those who are really looking at going down that road, we are 16 years post divorce, now. I think looking at the time, if I could just throw 2004, April 9th, 2004.
Oh, you got the exact date.
Absolutely. It was Good Friday. I'll never forget it. April the 9th. April the 9th.
It was a 9-day ending.
Right. April the 9th, 2004. It was. So it was on a Good Friday, and it was a Good Friday. And so
one of the things I thought about, because this has been 16 years ago, is that we did our own divorce, that we didn't go to lawyers, that we did our own divorce, which I had kind of forgotten about, but we filled out the paperwork. We came to agreements about things, and we were friendly enough at that point to do our own divorce and to work through all of these details that we're going to talk about today. So as Christians, believers, Holy Ghost filled people, we were able to agree on the details of the divorce, as opposed to going to court and having, it being dragged in with lawyers. And our divorce was not nasty at all. It was not drug out in court back and forth. It was something that we agreed to, and we worked out these details among ourselves. Is that how do you remember that?
So when he says our divorce is not nasty, I have no idea what he's talking about. So I want to say that I don't say that. I want to say that on the record. So if he meant the court day, nope. Not nasty
That's
at all.
I was talking about.
Because I don't know what world he living in. But if he's talking about April the 9th, not nasty at all, in no way, shape, form, or fashion. So much so, when we went before one particular person, she, he's talking, and she wanted to talk to me alone by myself, and so the court representative, and she was basically like, "Ma'am, do you understand all the implications of what you're doing? Are you sure? Like, you divorcing this man? Do you now?" So at that particular time, on that day, I'm saying yes, everything was cool and fine, but post divorce and all the stuff after, I now tell people. So on that particular day, from that experience, then yeah, she was mesmerized, but the piece of information she gave me on that day is now the information I tell to everybody getting a divorce, is that the person you're divorcing is no longer your friend. They're no longer your friend. They're no longer your spouse. You are separating two lives, and all of the nuances, and we're going to talk about these details. So all of the details and the nuances and all of the subsequent things that are going to emerge that you can't account for, you can't know, you don't know, you won't know, you can't know until it is upon you, and then you're going to experience that. I have someone right now today who was moving along very amicably, and then boom, it hits, and it takes one thing to hit it. And these are part of our details, you start dating somebody, or whatever the case may be, it takes one little thing to hit, and all that amicableness goes right out the window. So
didn't we go out to lunch after the divorce?
No,
we went to X's.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Because I know where I went immediately after the divorce and who I was with, and it certainly was not you. So absolutely not.
Okay. All right.
That's a very April the 9th, 2004 is a very memorable day, from the courtroom to exiting the courtroom, and what I did after and who I was with after, and that whole day. So no, clearly I was not with you on that day.
Okay.
Not that day. So let's start. We're not too far in. It's only 11:15. So let's start out with some of the details. And Patrick, whenever you could come in, if somebody has a question, by all means, put questions on the thread. I see Tamika, my girlfriend, is here with us. I can't see any other names. It looks like some people are watching from the what is it? The watch party. Kenneth Butler, was that him that just popped in? I'm trying to just say hello to somebody like Casey Wood. Danella was here, Sherry Hunt. So I don't know if these people are still watching. Danella's just such a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart to both of us, and she certainly wasn't my friend. So she was Bishop's friend, like longtime friend, girlfriend too. I think at one
All
Danella.
right, we just
Oops,
going
I don't know
all
if
in.
I don't
You
know if
feel
I'm
like
supposed to be
you just
telling
feel like
that.
spilling tea today.
Yeah, I don't know if I was supposed to be telling that. Excuse me, Danella, but she ended up being just a precious. And so I just got to say that publicly. That part is what I was getting at. End up being a precious, darling person, friend to me, to my son. And so when we talk about, when we get to the details talking about friends, she is certainly one I want to speak about. Yeah, she says she's here. Hey, fam. She is certainly one that I want to speak about, who had the ability to navigate both sides of the fence. She is definitely one of those people who did an exceptional job at that. So go ahead, Bishop, start us off. Doctor, start us off with the first D. And I definitely want to make sure that I talk about Danella as part of, we're doing F's today. I want to talk about, what are we doing today? F's, right?
F's, yes.
Yes,
we're
I want to
doing
talk
F's.
about Danella as
It's
one of
gonna be all F'd up
all
today.
F's today.
All F'd up.
All F's. We're teachers. We're teachers at the core. So today we're doing the 5 F's.
Yes.
So first F, Dr. Bishop Pulley, we're looking at the details to unpacking your marriage, deciding to divorce, and all the things that you're going to deal with in terms of unpacking it.
Yes, life after divorce, and we're into the details. The first detail, the first F, because we all F'd up today, is family. That the Bible says, and the two shall become one flesh. When you get a divorce, now it's the one becoming two, as opposed to the two becoming one. Now you got one, and it's becoming two. Now, Patrick, when they do that chat thing, I don't know how I lose the people on the screen when they do the I'm not as familiar
Comments?
with
Are you trying to say
when they do the
comments?
comments. Now I can't see you. I just see the comments. I'm trying to tap and see, how do I get out of that? I don't know. So I can just see myself. I can't see the other side of my screen.
Oh, so you don't see the comments that people are making. Is that what you're saying?
I don't see the comments. I don't see you. All I see is the private chat and me. So I don't know how to get rid of this private chat on the side. But anyway, what happens is that the two that became one is now one becoming two. And so this divorce piece is a redefinition of family.
Mm-hmm.
And what you defined as family before is now different. Your family is going to look different, and I'm talking about the immediate family, the immediate household, as well as the extended family that you had on the circumference is now different as a result of the decision to get divorced. So one of the details that we have to deal with is family. What is our definition of family? I was very close to your family. You were close to my family. And so it became a redefinition of what family is. And people may like the person as an individual, but not the two people together. And so now there's a difference in that family bond as a result of a divorce.
Okay, explain that again. You said so people might not like so let me be clear. So people might not like the person individually, but they like the people as a couple. Is that what you said?
No, I'm saying just the opposite. They may not have liked them as a couple. I don't like the fact that you were married to my daughter or that you were married to my grandson. I don't just like you as an individual.
Got you.
I didn't like the two of you together. I didn't like the marriage part of it.
Okay. So I didn't understand it. Okay, so so I guess with that, you have to give me an example of that. But I guess with that, it's the thing of that. So then there are some people who are glad you're getting a divorce from that perspective then.
Right,
So
because they didn't like the two of you
as a couple. And so you'll get you will find out, in terms of looking at the details, you're going to find out the people who are doing the exhales. You're going to find out the people who are saying, whew, I'm glad that's over. So you're going to find out those people who did, people who are not going to comment on the coming together, because they're honoring the fact that this is a decision that you made about marrying a particular person. And so now that relationship is falling apart, you're going to, I guess people are going to do their truth telling and go, ooh, I'm so glad that over. I did have a friend. She's no longer in my life to that degree. And she certainly was one of them who liked both of us actually individually. I ain't gonna call her name. I called Danella's name, so I ain't gonna call her name. But she liked both of us individually, and she respected both of us individually. And she certainly did not like us as a couple. And, she wrote down on a sheet of paper the number 5 for, they got 5 years, and she was correctly right. So we probably made it to 5 years, just probably to the letter, from her estimation that it would last. And so when you start hearing that, when you start talking about getting divorced, and the divorce is coming, and you're sharing that, don't be dismayed or disturbed by the people who are happy that is coming to a close. There will certainly be people who are distraught. There will certainly be people who are destroyed. But there will also be people who will be happy. And so although you see that your life is falling apart and your life is becoming unglued, be sensitive to understand the truth telling that you're going to receive from people who are absolutely ecstatic that, oh, good, that's over. I don't have to see them no more. I ain't got to see them again. And there's no diss to whichever side of the coin. You are, as Dr. Pulley said earlier, you are the person going through the divorce. You are, if I can give any advice to anybody with that, you are the person going through the divorce. And no matter how many lives that are being affected in the family, the people who are glad it's breaking apart and the people who are sorry it's breaking apart, or whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, it is still you making a decision about your life. And if I can say that, my therapist said to me at the time, and it has certainly come true, and I like to tell people this when I'm helping them navigate these waters, is that it's going to be very long and far-reaching what happens when there are children involved. It's going to be very long and far-reaching when children are involved. You won't even know or realize how the divorce is going to affect the people in that immediate house years to come, not days, not months, years to come. And you won't be able to figure that all out. So you want to make sure that you are sensitive enough to that you're going to allow your children to talk. You're going to allow them to give voice to their pain. And Dr. Pulley is a psychologist, so he certainly can speak more to that. You're gonna allow those children to give voice to their pain, to allow everybody to, as best as possible, to share and express whatever their feelings are, whether it's for or against. Bishop Pulley, Dr. Pulley, you can add more to that if you like.
Because the family is redefined. And so what was one family unit is now 2. There's at your house and at my house. It's not our house anymore. And so it's a different type of co-parenting as divorced parents. It's different co-parenting, that you're coming on the same page, the children being impacted by the fussing, by the fighting, by sometimes the children feel like pawns in between, in the middle, they're one way with the father and one way with the mother as a result of the divorce. And because the divorced people may not be talking on the same page, they're pitting one against the other. And it's a very, it's ugly. It's not nothing nice when you're dealing with children in divorce, because they're trying to work through it. Why did they get the divorce? Did we do something wrong? Even if they can't articulate it in words, children often start to blame themselves of why the parents got divorced, or why didn't they love me enough to stay married? Why couldn't they wait until after we got grown or out the house to get divorced? And so all those types of questions are in the minds of children, trying to navigate through a divorce. Why is this happening? Why can't they stay together for me? What can we do to try to bring them back together? Because the children are often still advocates for the marriage, because they want to see their parents together. And it's challenging often for children to express what they're thinking, what they're feeling. So they may start acting out. They may start eating more, picking up more weight. They may have some type of depression, feeling withdrawn as a result of the divorce. So it's impacting the children mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Our children were affected by the divorce because I know Durrell in particular prayed that his parents would stay together, and God didn't answer that prayer, and his parents got a divorce. So it's also impacting the children as it relates to their relationship with God. What's this church thing, this God thing? It couldn't keep my parents together. So what really is it? What good can it really do? So it's impacting them physically, mentally, emotionally, as well as spiritually. And I think also relationally, that there's this unconscious, subconscious thing. Can marriage really last? Can relationships really work when it didn't work for my parents? So it's certainly impacting the family, the definition of family, and all the different dynamics of all the different pieces of the family and players within the family unit.
But I think some know and some don't, and I'm seeing what I can't see. Delita Allen. I can't see her name, and so I really want to address what she said in terms of that's why some women decide to stay. So here's my take on that. And so first of all, we were a blended family. So let me add that. So the daughters were not my biological children. So that was already a set of circumstances that was very unique to this particular marriage, because the daughter's mother had died, so they had never had one versus the other or anything like that. So very unique. And then our son that we shared, who was our biological son, was created in the marriage. So he's only 2, 3, 4 years old as this marriage is coming apart. So he didn't even have a greater understanding or time with us as his parents. Most of his life he has experienced us being divorced. So so there's a very different dynamic there. And so my thing is, well, obviously I'm a female, but my thing is to women. So as she said about women and this idea of staying, yes, Miss Allen, Miss Allen, I think that's your name, is that there were many women within the family, the grandparents, my mom, and different women who felt like, from that school of thought that they were from, is that, oftentimes me as also a Black woman and what Black women have done throughout the ages, that I actually didn't have a right. So let me use that word. I didn't actually have a right to get a divorce. I didn't have a right to cause this kind of pain or harm or whatever the case on my family, that as a woman, that it was incumbent upon me as a woman that I would stay. So I got a 3-year-old, 2-year-old, that I would at least stay until my child is grown. I would at least stay until my child gets undergirded in this ideology of family or what have you. And my response to that is, I'm a truth teller. And so to stay means to stay in a lie. And so I rather my child knows the truth. And here's the truth. relationships oftentimes don't work. And so from that perspective, I rather offer the truth. I rather offer to women the truth. No, you do not have to stay in something and suffer in silence. You do not have to stay in something and suffer to the degree that you feel like you're going to lose your mind, or suffer to the degree that you feel like you're going to drive your car off of a cliff because you're overwhelmed by this situation that you find yourself in. And it wasn't always pretty inside of the marriage, because again, I'm coming in taking somebody else's place that really never exists in the family. So there was so many dynamics. There were in-laws that were really not in-laws to me, but they were in-laws to him because they were the first wife's family, and the adoption of the first wife family. So there was so many. So I don't want anybody to think that this marriage was just cut and dry. It was not. There were so many nuances and pieces to it that I didn't even know how to, and even in terms of marriage counseling, I don't think marriage counseling even could have helped us know what was coming down the road, all the nuances and pieces. And oftentimes you don't understand all the nuances and pieces until you're actually in it, until you get in it, and everything is before you. Then that is when you get to understand and to navigate and deal with what it is that I have signed up for.
Right. So it's going to be different. You know, separation, divorce, it's going to impact the family, it's going to impact the children. And based upon their personalities, they're going to interact differently. I remember one of my daughters still, saw LaTanya as her mother, and another daughter did not, and
Right.
did not want to claim her as mother at
Right.
all. So
Right.
I had 3 different children respond to the divorce in 3 different ways. It's like one child, Darrell, this is my mom, this is my dad. One, okay, she's still going to be my mom, and my dad. And one, she is no longer my mother, and it's just my father. And so I think the children need that freedom to be able to define what is it going to be for them, as opposed to thinking that they're all going to respond the same. They
way.
each are unique individual expressions of the divine, and it's challenging enough for them to experience a divorce and then to be forced to deal with it in a particular way. Allow them to navigate through that and define it how they need to define it. Even with the holidays, those holidays were different. We had to negotiate, family holidays. And as I recall, sometimes my memory can be a little crazy, so I'm sure you'll correct me if I don't remember correctly. But I remember Christmas and Thanksgiving. You said,
Right.
I'll
Those
take Thanksgiving
yes,
as my
that's
holiday
correct.
because that means more to me
Than Christmas.
You
Yeah.
have Christmas as yours. So those types of family details, before we were all having Thanksgiving together, all having Christmas together, but now it's different. How do we negotiate and navigate this space of who's going to be with who for the holidays? I remember even, that's another thing, we'll get to it with the taxes, but make a note on that. And so the children negotiating those holidays, and what family now means, allowing that definition to broaden. The family dynamic is changed. Let's not try to pretend that it is the same. It's indifferent.
Yeah.
The family dynamic is different. It has been redefined. It is changed. It is altered as a result of the divorce. And so let's live in that reality. And it is going to affect the children. We talked about therapy. They're going to need therapy. I recommend, when you're going through the separation, divorce, that the children get therapy, that you get therapy. You get everybody in the same room together.
All y'all
Everybody get therapy, because things are coming up and out to be healed. And you need that neutral, non-biased third party that's not your family to help you navigate through this, because your family is going to see it, and sometimes they can be biased or one-sided. And so that neutral, non-biased third party, I'm not even talking about your pastor, because sometimes the pastor, the spiritual leader, the senior minister, whoever, they already have their perspective of what should be and what the Bible says and what the Lord said. We went through a whole lot of that. What the Lord told me and what the Lord showed me. So you really need counseling, a neutral, non-biased third party that is a professional to help you navigate through that. And so that's going to help the family, the children, and those who are on the circumference. Even though they love you and they have your best interests in heart, they still are not the people that are going to be able to help you navigate through these details. You need a professional.
And another thing I want to add too is, I know this is going to sound crazy to somebody, but just don't try as best as possible not to take it personal. It's going to feel so personal. It's going to feel so cutting. And this is a time that you really have to be understanding in the way you've never been understanding. So just like he said, even in one child making a decision where she ain't my mother, she ain't never been my mother, I was just going along with the plan. You can't take personal people's experiences or people desires and needs and wants for their life. Because here's the thing about children, even when it's a blended family, this is not a decision that the children are making. This is a decision that a parent made. And so because this is a decision that a parent made, children are carried into a decision that a parent made. And so when you have that understanding, because, you know, that was my case too. My mother's husband was not my father. I wouldn't have picked him. So when it's not your decision, then you can't take personal or take from another individual their right to like or dislike, their right for it to be oil and water or oil. You know, you just can't take that personally. And so when you're getting a divorce, that is going to be amplified even more so. You know, so the one who I didn't want it anyway, that's going to be, you know, that person's going to have more cartwheels. And then the person who, but, you know, I still wanted to be my mother, then they're not going to have the same amount of cartwheels. So you just be mindful. It's going to be a very gut-wrenchingly honest thing that is happening to you and your family. Don't take the truth so personally, even though it's going to feel like daggers in your heart, your back, your ears, and everywhere else you got a hole in your body. Try to find a way to mitigate what that's going to feel like by just understanding that truth is being put forth in a light that it has never been before. Because coming together is not the same truth as coming apart. All right, Bishop, take us on to the next F.
All right, so the next F has to do with friends. People often talk about the marital property that's split up in the divorce, you know, who gets the house, who gets the car, who gets this and all. But really, friends are often who got I remember a couple that we used to hang out. You know, we had couples that we double dated.
A lot of them.
Let's start saying
quite
names.
A few.
But I'm not
don't say no names.
But there's some of these couples that LaTanya got in the divorce, and there were some of these couples that I got in the divorce but you really have to.
Now I want him to tell that, Corinne, not some. There was probably one or two I got in the divorce. The rest went with him. So I want to be clear. I got one or two of them. Everybody else went with. Now continue, Bishop. I just wanted to no. That was not no split down the middle. Something. No. Because I gotta tell the tale. Keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going. Because that is not.
I don't remember the.
Yeah, I do. The person, you remember the exact number when you dividing up 20 coins and somebody else got 18 and you got 2. You remember that. Now they don't, because they got 18. And so maybe he thought it was 36 since he got 18. That's not what happened. Continue, Doc.
Well, I don't remember the exact number, but I know that some of the friends, remain my friends, and some of the friends remained her friends, and these were friends that we had together. And it's awkward for them too, to have to choose, because unless you are somebody like Danella, there are some people who are able to be neutral, don't talk to me about him, don't talk to me about her. I'm both of y'all friends. Y'all not going to make me pick. You're not going to make me choose. But most people are normally not that sophisticated to be able to be friends with both
both.
parties in a divorce experience. They make a choice. They make a decision. LaTanya's my friend. Or I have a stronger bond with her, so she's going to be my friend. Or Darella's my friend. I have a stronger bond with him. He's going to be my friend. Because we're talking, I remember, I will use this person's name. I remember one of the couples that were spiritual leaders with us was Sam and Juanita.
Okay.
And they went through a divorce. We were starting to separate. We divorced before them, but we were starting to separate at the same time. You know, and Sam was originally somebody I met through you. I didn't know Sam.
Right.
Sam was somebody I met through you. But Sam and I built a closer bond and became friends. And so in the divorce, Sam and Juanita were my friends and not your friends, even though Sam started out as your friend. I just remembered that. I met Sam through you.
Right.
You know, but in the divorce, Sam became my friend, and Juanita, they became my friends. And so it's not, so let's, again, I love what you said about not taking it personal. It's not that that person doesn't love you, doesn't care about you, but you, as a result of your decision, they have to make another decision.
That is correct.
Your decision was the impetus for them to make the decision that they have to make. And it's not easy for them. So let's not take it personal but they got to make a decision because you've made a decision.
And it's gonna feel real personal. And again, we're talking about, we are 17 years out from the actual separation, 16 from the actual divorce. And so all of the navigating all of those years, yes, it's gonna feel very personal, especially it's gonna feel very personal on my side because I got the least amount of coins. So the person with the least amount of coins, yes, you're gonna feel some kind of way. And later for me, I didn't feel some kind of way because they were also, so to them who are listening, or somebody might say they on Facebook talking about all us. So to those who might be listening, let me be clear to say this, that I understood for some of those friends was that because we were also pastoring a church and friends that we had were also tied to what we did in ministry. And here I was saying, I'm no longer doing that. I'm no longer interested in that. So of course that made it even more of a divide for some people. So I want to give them their credit today that they were also navigating that. Okay, well, I don't know that I should choose her because she's in this space and place and time where she is unfolding in a way I don't even know if she's going to be speaking to people who believe in Jesus. So, so if I got to sum this all up, I think I might go with Pulley because he looked like So I want to help somebody today. So he looks like he's a little bit more settled and secure, and he gonna remain with the Lord. We don't quite know what it is that she's about to do. I cut all my hair, I grew locks, and so my whole look, everything about me was changing in such a way. So I did have those friends who, in all honest and earnest, was able to say to me, I don't really understand what you're doing, and you're evolving as a person that I have not known for these 5 years. So you're kind of looking different and sounding different, and it looks like you're moving in a different direction that I'm not familiar with for my own life when the conversations about Jesus ministry members and children, and you going on a road or to do something else. So I want to say that too, that even as you are understanding what it is you are purporting to your friends, what it is that you are saying, what it is you are offering, they have a right to make that decision. Even in friendships, people are looking for longevity, people are looking for stability. Everybody, friends included, everybody is trying to find a way to mitigate their own level of hurt and pain and whatever is going to transpire. So everybody is in this kind of protective mode too, as a result of that. Back to Danella, same thing, the opposite thing. Danella was his friend, and I'm using her because I think aside from people who just drew the line, because she was his friend, and she's known him for years, like just years.
Since I was 16.
Since he was 16, the way that she particularly came to my life, the way this woman who didn't necessarily know me intimately, she wasn't somebody who necessarily was showing up at various and sundry things when we were married, but when we got divorced, she was certainly somebody who was there saying, if there's anything I can do, she adores our son, as you know, this is a part of their union, and she was a person who modeled. And I mean, so, and I want to say to her, as she is listening, because it is the God heaven truth, she modeled being a Christian throughout it in a way that I can't really give credit to anybody else navigating it. And I'm saying that because of the relationship she had with him previous to the one that I had. So for her to be able to navigate what she did and the way she did with such care and concern, and genuine care and concern, even when me and my son was going through something devastating, my God, she was on the front line, on the front line, just there saying, let me know. And even so much recently, something was happening with somebody, and she heard somebody. I was the first person she thought of, and she hooked me up with a little gig I got. And so I was able to develop a relationship with somebody else as a result of her. So friends are navigating a very tenuous situation, and oftentimes don't know how to navigate it. And of course, you have the friends who are just your friends, but even the friends who were just my friends, some of the friends who were just my friends, yep, they preferred him. Now that I done met y'all as a couple, you know what? I don't like you. I'm going with him. So that was, that I don't know. So I think I picked just terrible friends in general.
But let me say this. Wait.
I want to say that for myself. I haven't picked the best friends, so I'm gonna say that. Thank you, Tamika, for being on here. She's my friend. She's a ride or die. I haven't always had ride or die friends. So I just want to throw that out there real quick.
Yeah, and my experience has been very different. Most of my friends have been ride or die. Most of my friends, I don't have a lot of new friends.
Yes.
40 years, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15. Most of my friends are ride or die type people. I don't have a lot of. We were out when I was in Baltimore for the twins' birthday. We were out, and my friend, he don't care about me calling his name, Darnell. We've been friends for 40 years, and we happened to meet at Panera Bread because he was concerned about COVID and his wife and all that. So we wanted to meet out in a neutral environment. And so when I got to the restaurant, I was a little late. He was standing outside. He was like, we don't have to go in. We don't have to go in. I said, why can't we go in? He said, if you want to go somewhere else, it's okay. And I'm like, why don't we go somewhere else? And he's pointing in the window saying, LaTonya's in there. LaTonya's in there. I'm like, where? He was like, it's okay. We can go somewhere else. I'm like, LaTonya, she's here. Of all the places, as huge as Baltimore is, of all the places where people could meet and talk and eat, we happened to be at the same Panera. And he didn't go inside for me to even have to bear seeing her. He was protecting me on the outside in case I didn't want to go in or see her. And so I'm just some of the type of friends I have. And so he stands outside in the cold. So when I get there, I can be protected. And I was like, oh no, me and LaTonya, we're cool. He was like, what? I said, no, we're fine. He was like, LaTonya? I was like, yes, everything is fine. We've been doing some things together, whatever. He was like, you sure? And so we went in, and of course we saw LaTonya. But those are, so I think our experience with friendships, have been different. And I got a lot of support through the divorce, a whole lot of support, as I have with anything that I've gone through in my life. Those are just the type of friends that I have. But I did want to desire to say something about friendship. In the divorce, the greatest loss that I felt that I had was the loss of our friendship. I may not have experienced the loss of friends, like that, but I feel like the greatest loss for me in the divorce was the loss of our friendship, because we had been friends 7 years prior to getting married, and then
that's right.
The marital relationship And now, you know, I'm losing a friend. I'm not just losing my wife. I'm not just losing a ministry partner. I'm not just losing a mother for my daughter. I'm all daughters. I'm also losing a friend that, regardless of how amicable the divorce can be, our friendship that we had was never the same. So that was the biggest thing as it relates to friendship that I was navigating, is that LaTanya is no longer going to be my friend the way that we were friends prior to the marriage, in the marriage, now that we're separating and divorcing. So, and that kind of, I had to really do a lot of work with that, because people say friends and lovers and you should be friends first and all of that. I was like, never again. I was like, never again, because the loss of the friendship. So I kept my friends on this side and lovers on that side, because it was a great loss of friendship for me. So it's also the loss of the friendship with that person that people also have to navigate through.
I think for me, as I just said, so because most of my friends suck. That wasn't the same experience with me. So I felt very betrayed by a lot of people who I called friends in the divorce and the function. A lot, not everyone, not but the thing about what he says is that he still has those friends to this day. um I I don't think that I have any friend that was my friend um, pre-marriage, through the marriage, and now post-marriage is still a friend of mine. Not one. I don't think I have one. Not that was friends to
Well, you also
both.
had death. Some of
I
them
know.
also transition.
Yes, Dad. That's only one. One causes. There's only one. So no, I ain't like I got you. I know you trying to help me out. Nope. 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 No. 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 I don't have them, and they still remain close to you, or they're friends to you, in that perspective. And one who I probably have hated, and I'm using that word hated, that if I even see her, my head will spin around 17 times, because she made a very clear line of demarcation between us, and she was my friend. And as a result of that, so I haven't responded to friendships or the loss thereof in that particular way. So for me, I started to look at, so like you, not friends from lovers and all that kind of stuff like that, from that part, and going on into other relationships, but just looking at myself as a whole in terms of what is going on in me. So I'm not talking, so again, it's not personal in terms of out there, but what is going on in me? What kind of work do I need to do within me, that I'm picking such friends that when the rubber meet the road, that they will not be by my side. They will choose the other side, or somebody can be more tantalizing to them, or have more offering to them, that just seems like an easier line to be drawn than to that. And so that is my own personal work to do. So I'm being very transparent and clear about that right now, as I'm saying that the work that I've had to do with myself as a result of the divorce, to even look at and examine the type of friend that I am and the type of friends that I want, because the experience that I had divorcing, I did not like the way my friends showed up for me. I can count on one hand, with a few fingers left, of the people who and they probably wasn't even my friends, more so a couple of church people that was just like, I remember I got a call one day, and it was from Bishop Greg McCoy. He wouldn't mind me saying his name either. I got a call one day, and he said, "Mother, how you doing? How you doing, Mother? How you doing, Mother?" And I said, "I'm doing fine." He said, "Happy birthday, happy birthday." He said, "Now, how many calls you get today? Am I the only one?" I said, "You the only one." He was like, wow. And last year I was at a service where all of your friends and all these people just came up and pronounced all of this love and affection to you. And it is 12 months later. And I wanted to know how many of those people have. I called just to find out how many, mother. I said, just you. So I had a very, very, very different
Wow.
experience coming out of this marriage than you did. I had a very, very different experience. So it became for me something where now it's an opportunity for me to sit back and say, okay, God, I don't ever want my life to look like that again. So tell me what it is that I need to do to ensure that I have people who are for me, with me. Tamika's certainly on here today. She got things that she could be doing right now. And Moss, I'll be able to pop in, whatever, I'll be able to. So as I've had to do that work post-divorce to manifest the Ron Coleman, she's not on here like that. She doesn't, she'll pop on to, she's Catholic, so she doesn't always pop on to other things. But then I was able to get some friends who, through post-divorce, where I begin to see the ride or die no matter what happened. But that was not the case coming out of this marriage. So I wanted to say that. And so do the work that you need to do for yourself, because you a lot of truth telling is going to happen going through this divorce. All right, let's get us to, we had about 12 o'clock. We're going to try to be on here for about 30, 40 more minutes at the max, Patrick. So let's get through these other F's. We hope you're being blessed by it, certainly. And if you got any questions, we know you're making comments, but if you got any questions, please put some questions in the chat. Those of you who are around us, members of our church, friends who are hearing, please know we're trying not to point any fingers at anybody. We are here unpacking what we're saying. Bishop was on here. Bishop McLaughlin was on here. I see Bishop Gwen is on here. That we're unpacking.
You elevated Gwen to
I'm not Bishop Gwen to have a heart attack. I'm sorry. Elder Gwen McLaughlin is on here. Bishop Rudolph McLaughlin is on here. Thank you guys for being on here. So again, we're unpacking it anyway. Definitely trying not to name names or anything like that, but helping people see the severity of getting a divorce and all of the pieces that are taking place and all of the people that are being affected and how everybody is trying to navigate an end of something.
But people are not just, when you said that people are being affected, people are not just being affected by divorce. People are also being infected by divorce. People are looking at it and saying, well, if the two of them didn't make it, now I don't know whether or not I need to get married. Some people were like, some people were encouraged to get a divorce after we got a divorce. Some people, hunkered down and they're going to make it work as a result. So people are not just being affected by divorce, so people are also being infected by divorce. They're looking and say, okay, what does this say about me? What does this say about my marriage when a couple that I honored and revered and respected, that they're getting divorced? My spiritual parents, are getting divorced. It was a bitter pill for a lot of people to follow. So we talked about life after divorce. We're getting into the details. We talked about the detail of family. We dealt with the children as well as the family on the circumference. We also dealt with our friends. How many of us have them?
How many of us have them? Friends.
Yes, we talked about friends and our different experiences with having friends in the divorce. So now we're going to move to talk about finances. That a lot of the bitterness as it relates to divorce is about money, is about finances. And so having the finances together as a couple and now standing on your own two financial feet as a result of divorce is very challenging. And I just want to be open and honest here. I just want to free my soul, free your mind, and the rest will follow.
Well, free your soul.
Prior to us getting married, I was very generous to LaTanya. She was my friend, so it was nothing that I felt was too good for her. We were having another conversation, and she's like, I can't even think of a time where I had to come out of my pocket and pay for nothing. So, us being friends prior to the marriage, I was very generous. Us being a married couple in the marriage, I desired for my wife to have the best clothes, drive the best car, the best ring, you know, whatever, to help her prosper and be successful. I was all in. When we started talking about separating and divorcing, a stingy spirit came on me. A selfish spirit came on me. I didn't want her to have nothing.
Let him free his soul, Lord
I
Jesus.
did
Let
not
him free his
desire
soul,
for her
Jesus.
to
Oh,
have
God.
nothing. Nothing. And so the person in the friendship prior to the marriage, the person in the marriage is not the same person separating and divorced. I went from this generous, open heart, let me pay your student loan, let me, you know, buy you this, take you here, money is no object, until whoop. It's like I felt that the finances were a way for me to say, you know, you hurt me, were my way of protecting myself. And so, you know, I had the friends, you know, and that went well. But the financial piece is the piece that I feel in the details where I was most selfish. You know, I didn't care, you know, about her financially. You want this divorce, you make it the best way you can. You know, and you know, so then getting into child support and all of that. I mean, it was the financial piece, I think, was probably the most nasty piece of the divorce, because my heart was closed, you know, as it relates to giving and trying to be equal. Nope. You know, you want a divorce, fend for yourself. So I just had to confess that and repent. But I was very selfish financially. I was looking out for myself, my daughters, you know, my son, you know, and you out there over there. No matter how much you contribute to the marriage and co-parenting, co-pastoring, this is my money, and you work it out the best way you can.
Tamika, my God, my I'm so elated for him to share that, because even though I didn't look at it that way, I looked at it from the perspective of, again, when you are divorcing somebody, you're tearing apart a person's life. You're tearing apart a person's life, and whether they are saying yes to it. Again, even though on April the 9th is very amicable, that the people in the courthouse are you know, amazed about how amicable it is. That's April the 9th. On April the 10th, when it all sets in, when like everything just settles down and set, you know, and the person like really like he has some time now, when things start to settle down and it's finite and that paper, and then you get that piece of paper in the mail, when it becomes really, oh, we really divorced. So I love how he put it as a stingy spirit. I didn't take it like that. I wasn't offended by that in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Let me tell you why. Is because he has sown so much in my life financially, that, you know, the way he was having a tantrum, it didn't affect me. It didn't outweigh what he had already sown. So even though sometimes I would get, you know, the child support and change, and you know, just playing dumb games with playing, y'all see him raising his hand, playing dumb games with the child support. So whatever, so now he's saying, so whatever his way was of, you know, like you know.
Because I remember when we went to court for child support, it wasn't for non-payment. It was,
no, it was. It was for all that craziness. Exactly.
I don't want to deal with him. Exactly. I want the money coming to my account.
I don't want no quarters. I don't want the church got the jar on the side, and y'all put all y'all change in here. This is my child support offering thing, and I'm gonna put this in a Ziploc bag, and I'm gonna hand this to my ex-wife just because I can be stupid like that.
Yes, I was angry.
And so I'm like,
and let me say what the backdrop of that anger was. It's like, I had been married prior to, and my wife transitioned. And so it was a case that was, was involved with that. And because I married LaTanya before the case was completely settled, instead of the funds being cut in thirds as the husband, Brittany, and Courtney, because I was married now, it was cut in half. And everything went to Brittany and Courtney and not to me as the spouse. And so I was angry about that. I said, no, I done gave up all of this hundreds of thousands of dollars to marry you, and now we getting a divorce. You gets nothing. I mean, I done paid your student loans. I done done this. I done done that. I was angry because I was thinking about all the money that I had put out and all the money I had lost. I did not desire to give her not nary.
Wait a minute. But we forget on last time we were here together, he said he got them three prophecies out of the mouth of how does the scripture, out of the mouth of every
2 or 3 witnesses.
2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. So even though so here's for all y'all spiritual people. So even though he got the word, right? And even though you excited that what you're about to do has been confirmed by the heavens. Come on. Now, this is the part people, all y'all spiritual people need to hear. It's been confirmed by the heavens. You got the word and you like, yup, okay, this is what God said. I can divorce. I'm moving forward. You get in it, and then it becomes all flesh. Where the Holy Ghost went at? Like somebody just opened the door and said, Holy Ghost, I'm gonna need you to exit, because this is what I'm gonna be. Petty, angry, mad, blah, 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 blah. Now, my response to that wasn't that I wanted to meet that with petty, angry, and but somebody keep so my thing is, I'm going to the court of law. Y'all, look, I need some help because my ex-husband is losing his everlasting mind, and I'm not gonna lose my mind with him. And so look, this money can just come out your check, and then we don't have to talk, we don't have to see each other, we don't have to do any of that. And it just got so here's the part, it just got so crazy in terms of the finances. Now, I was a homemaker, so I didn't work, I didn't have a job. So like he said, so he got stingy and all of that. It's like, I don't want to give her nothing but what I have to give her and all of that stuff. But it pushed me as a single woman, and this is where I certainly honor God, is that it pushed me as a single woman, now a divorced woman, to really make a decision on how am I going to take care of myself, because I don't have alimony anymore. I don't have his support, his help. I don't have his car, none of those things. So how am I going to do that? And sadly to say, so if you're listening and you're somebody married and you're thinking about getting out, I advise you to solidify your finances, to solidify. If you were thinking about going back to school, look, I got surgery on his money. I said, let me hurry up and get this surgery before all this. I got surgery. I was like, let me hurry up, because this man taking the insurance. He taking everything. Let me hurry up and take care of some medical issues and all of this stuff.
Hurry up.
Yeah, so I was like, so I was hurry up doing everything for all the expiration dates based off of, and I love how he put it as him being stingy and hurt, and so this is his story. But for me, it was also an opportunity for me to reinvent myself, rediscover, because he didn't have a wife who was uneducated. At the time, I had just as much education as he did. So we were two highly educated people. At one point in time, we worked at the same place, we had the same career. And so I gave all of that up to be a homemaker and for us to start church and ministry and what have you. So I did have something to fall back on. It wasn't that like other women that I have since coached and counseled, who, yes, they've had to stay in those marriages because they didn't have anything to fall back on. They would actually move from, and so I can't say move from a 2-family income, because we never had a 2-family income. It was a one family income. He was the breadwinner. He took care of everything. And the whole lifestyle that I had was predicated on one income, his, not mine. Every dime I got was spending money. So let me be clear on how I was taking care of. It was spending money. I ain't paid nothing.
Kept woman. You was a kept
I was
woman.
a kept woman. I paid for nada, nothing, and he would split the taxes with me. You get half. So I want you. So let me give him his props. So although post divorce he's acting stingy and whatever he may be acting, it didn't affect me in that way because he had been such a giver throughout. It never even balanced out where like even today that I talk about him from the perspective of that he was a stingy person, a man. He remembers it because he's the person who's being stingy. I didn't experience it like that because even still when post divorce and we went out somewhere to eat or we doing Darrell's party, he would pay or you leave a tip or I'll pay throughout the year. So it wasn't always something that he could even maintain this level of stinginess. So I don't have it as a memory the same way he has it as a memory because I was a person, like he said, from day one that I met this man. I ain't have to go in my pocket. Not from day one. You took me out to McDonald's. I ain't paid it. I've never paid. So that's not my experience with Bishop Pulley. Dr.
I had a very traditional concept of husband.
I didn't go in my pocket.
The man pays, the woman is taken care of, like Christ in the church. That was my concept of men and women. Is very,
and that is what I experienced. That is clearly what I experienced. So I didn't have that. So I'm hearing him today explain it and express it. But again, he had given so much to me throughout the course of the years that this going through post divorce.
And the way I got healed from that, and it was a season, is to remember that God is abundance. That God is increase, abundance, overflow, and more than enough. So even if your money is not coming the same way it used to come from your spouse is not your source. God is your source. Your spouse is a resource. If it's not coming from the job that you had, God is your source. The job is a resource. And so when one door closes, God opens up not just another door, God opens a better door. When one window closes, God doesn't just open up another window, he opens a bigger window. But many times in divorce, and that's how I had to work with myself, is that I'm not losing. God is my source. Everything and everyone else is a resource. So I don't have to be stingy. I don't have to be bitter. I don't have to be mad or use this as a defense mechanism to process my hurt because God is I have not lost anything. That I am gaining, that I am operating in the abundance because the Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. I shall not want. But I think that many times in a divorce situation, people get in fear of lack, of not having enough, of feeling like they are not enough. And so they get into lack and limitation and scarcity because they forget who their source is. Your spouse is not your source. God is your source. And God will open up doors and windows and lay it upon people's heart to bless you and help you to navigate. Even if your spouse is going through a stingy spell, God will still take care of you. God will still make sure that you have what you need. But my God shall supply all of your needs according to God's riches and glory in Christ. God is the source, and we live in an abundant universe. So the resource may have changed because you're getting a divorce, but the source has not changed. God is your provider. God is your source. God is your source in the midst of a divorce. Did you catch that?
Yes, yeah. And let me say this for those people who, because again, I want you to hear this as a takeaway. If this is you, I was a kept woman, so we made that perfectly clear. I did not work. I was a kept woman who now was unkept by my spouse. So we still married at the separation. So now I'm unkept. Now, it's on you, boo, in that stingy season. However, there would be different people who I ministered to, through different people who would come in and I'm gonna pay your bills till you get on your feet. So I did have those surprise, that people would say, you hear this in church all the time. You get those unexpected checks in the mail and stuff like that. I did start to have those experiences more frequently. I can say I was in church one Sunday. I was actually in your church. Be honest. I don't know what I was there for, but I was actually at your church one Sunday for something, and I can't remember if the person was a member of your church, so I don't want to disclaim her. But she tapped me on my back, and at this point, I'm trying to recover. Now remember, I had no job, and now I'm here, and he's being stingy. So at some point, I had to file bankruptcy, and I'm there, and this woman tapped me on the back of my shoulder, and I turned around and she had a folded check, and she handed me this folded up check, and I said, and I opened it up, and it was for $1,000, and she said, wow. This is on a Sunday morning service, and she said, can you just hold it to Friday? I had prayed and asked God. The bankruptcy fee was $850. And so I was like, God, if you really want me to file this bankruptcy so I can start over, I have no income. And here was somebody tapping me on the shoulder in church who didn't have it. She was not that type of person who had been known. She didn't work a highfalutin job or anything like that. And listen to what she said to me. God told me to write this check, but if you put this check in today or tomorrow, it's gonna bounce. So she wasn't somebody who had money just flowing like that. She was saying, I need you to wait till I get paid on Friday. You can put the check in on Friday and the check will be good. So let me say this to people who are out there too listening. When we are following God across the board, not just getting divorced, you as people, parishioners, friends, and you hear God say, go give that person $500, go give that person $100, that really could be God talking to you, because you don't know what prayer that person has ushered up to God, and he needs your hand in your purse. God, money ain't falling out the sky. It is God having the ability to be able to touch the hearts of men. Danella is one of those people. It is God having the ability to be able to touch the hearts of men. It is Tamika being one of those people for me. It is God having the ability to be able to touch the hearts of men, who becomes the source and a sustainer to help somebody transverse or transition in a situation that they're in. They might need you, even if you're just showing up with a bag of groceries. I remember one year for Christmas that I'm standing in line. I'm standing in line to buy my son some toys. I go to swipe my card. It was declined. I go to run to the bank. I'm standing in line buying $300 worth of items and food and clothes. My bank account said I only had $80 in it. The person who I'm shopping with, don't worry about it, LaTanya. Push it across the conveyor belt. Your son will not have will still have a Christmas. I got you on that. It's friends. And also, as you are transversing from one lifestyle to another, there are going to be some lean times, unless both of y'all are just millionaires. But it takes other people around you. Some of them will be strangers. Some of them will be other people that you have blessed. Some of them will be family members. But if all of us understand that we play a role in helping God and being God's hands, then people don't have to stay stuck somewhere because they are afraid that God is not enough. People don't have to be stuck in something because they haven't experienced the abundance of God. How we experience is through each other. And so as we are all able to check our own hearts and check where we are, it is blessed to give. That's really true. So this is a good time for you right now, Patrick, to put up the Cash App for both of us so y'all can sow some money into this message, because it is blessed to give. It is more blessed to give. And because y'all heard what Bishop Pulley said, and you heard my testimony to Bishop Pulley being a giver, I've never had to work. So he didn't miss a beat. And I'm also a person who has always been a giver. So in my time of lack, what happened? Giving came. I had people giving to me from Nigeria. People giving came from all different places. Giving came from where I was somebody who didn't even have tapping me on the shoulder, handing me not a $10, a $1,000 check. Didn't know, God, how we gonna pay for this bankruptcy? I got you. Don't worry about it. The money coming. Here it goes right here. So when we understand it from that perspective, then whatever God is saying, if we all are willing to co-conspire for the good, because it's all gonna work out for our good in the end. I hope y'all got that message for me and Bishop Pulley preaching to y'all this Saturday morning about giving.
Yes.
Amen. Let's
Finance.
see. We got 10 more minutes left. Let's see if we can get in another F.
Yes, God is your source in the midst of a divorce. God does not stop being your source because you are getting a divorce.
No.
All right, the next one has to do with fellowship. I want to skip that one. Let's go to future dating.
Okay.
We'll skip the church piece.
We'll end this on talking about the idea of moving on to new partners and opening up your heart again. Yes, we'll end on that note, Patrick.
Since we healing today, let me just go on and just go on to here. Let me say this to you. If you are going through a divorce, wait until you are divorced to start dating other people. I'm gonna just say that to you. Go through the divorce and go ahead and get divorced before you start dating other people, because when you don't wait until you are actually divorced, separation does not mean, let me just be honest. I started dating as a separated person, and I will not recommend that to anybody. Go on, get through the divorce before you start dating somebody else, because it will look like you've been committing adultery the whole time. And now that and I was not committing adultery, but it appeared that way because as soon as
let's say it appeared that way because we was what? Still married. Say it, Bishop. Go ahead.
We were still married. When we were together, under the same roof or whatever, I was not, adulterous. I was very committed to our marriage. When we separated, I started dating. And that is not a good thing to do. Wait until you are divorced, because you're going through various feelings. The other person is going through various feelings, and somebody else does not need to be caught up in that mess and in that drama. Your heart's not free to divorce. To date somebody else. Your mind ain't free. You're not really clear. Give yourself a good year, a season, 4 seasons to kind of just clear. You say 2?
I gave myself 2. I'm just.
You gave yourself 2 years? 2. Well, I ain't give myself nothing. When you was out, I started dating as soon as you walked out of that door. And I would not recommend that to anybody. Wait. Let yourself heal. Work through the details of the divorce. Define who you are now as a divorced person, because you don't really even know who you are. After you get divorced, you are rediscovering yourself. And so the person you were in the marriage is not the person that you are separated and divorced.
Absolutely.
And really clear, the dust is not really settled. So therefore, you're bringing somebody else into your drama. You're bringing somebody else into your mess. Get it straight with you. Go through that process, close that door, bring closure to that marriage, heal from that divorce before you start getting involved with somebody else. If you do a disservice to yourself, you do a disservice to the person you are divorcing, and you do a disservice to the other person that you are dating, because you're really not free and clear.
Hi, Daniel. How you doing? Good. Thank you for joining us. I know, and Pastor Nganja, I need you to pronounce that name for me. So we have some of our Nigeria friends watching, so they're watching certainly at a different time. It's a little later there, and anybody else watching from across the planet. So I want to add to this. So I did not date immediately. However, men pursued me immediately. and especially, you know, from the church. Like, so you discover that, again, you know, when you get a divorce, you're going to discover a lot of truth telling. So what you discover is that although you were married, there are people who were liking you while you were married. Although you were married, there were people who was like, I wish she wasn't married, or I wish he wasn't married, or shoot, I know what to do with her, give her to me. So it's a season of truth telling on a whole lot of people's parts. And so although I may have been pursued, I did not. I wanted to make sure, because again, now remember, I'm coming out of the marriage jobless. I'm coming out of the marriage trying to build a whole life for myself. I'm coming out of the marriage getting settled in where I'm going to live. I didn't retain the marital property. He did, because he had the kids. So I'm coming out of the marriage in a very different set of circumstances than Bishop Pulley is coming out of. Dr. Pulley is coming out of the marriage. So I needed to make sure, who was I going to be? Now, I will say how he treated me with the stinginess, how it affected me coming out of the marriage. I made a vow to myself that I have kept for 17 years. I will never, ever be in a situation where a man can throw me my bills and say, now you pay them. So we already heard him talk about him being stingy about, you know, all my bills in a nice manila envelope. And I'm like, down. You know, after paying off the student loan. So he likes to, yes, he did pay off my Morgan student loan. So he can get credit for that. Yes, he did do that. And so just that, having that feeling, though, I did not like having that feeling of that vulnerability and that frailty from that perspective, that I had put all my trust in somebody. And I didn't put my trust in Dr. Pulley from a fearful perspective. Again, this man, like he said, even the friendship, I've never gone in my pocket to be his nothing, ever, never. If I was having a bad day, as my friend, you having a bad day? Yep. Come on, let me take you to the store and buy you some girly perfume and baths. You know, so I've never, ever, I don't ever go in my, I don't even know if I ever treated the man. So I don't know. I probably have, but I'm just saying. Anniversary or stuff like that. So I've never gone into my pocket. And so here at this moment, boom, here's your stuff. So I needed to make sure that I was not so fragile and so vulnerable that I would get in a relationship with a man to recoup financially. I did not want that to be my story. So I made sure that my career was settled and situated in such a way that I had income, that I could take care of myself, that getting in a relationship with a man could not be bartered based on money, based on I have a financial deficit in my life, that now I'm going to get in a relationship with you and it's not going to be honest and it's not going to be true, because this relationship is based off of I'm coming out of being in a house, driving a Mercedes Benz, traveling all over the world, spoiled as can be, you know, a rock on my hand. The rock on my hand was so big, I was driving through a toll pole and the lady said, ma'am, excuse me. I'm handing her the money. Ma'am, excuse me. Yes. How long you have to be married to get one of them? I was like, I don't know. I just got married. So how long you have to get married to get one of them? Ma'am, I don't know. I haven't even been married a year. She was like, whoa, you know. And so that was my financial experience. So I wanted to make sure, for myself personally, I wanted to make sure that I did not get in a relationship with a man to be a kept woman again. I did not want that. And it wasn't because he did a bad job at keeping me. It was because of one move he made, that when it was over, the way he separated that thing, like boom, now you on your own. And I don't care if you sink or swim. I said, nobody will never tell me those words again in my life. And consequently, no man has. And I give all praise to Jehovah God for that. I have been able to maintain myself, to get a career and get paid a salary that I've never thought I would be able to make in my life, and to be able to do it went one salary, now in a separate household over here. Now we're in two separate households. Our son at least had the ability to at least see a sense of prosperity no matter who he was with, because of what I was willing to do. So I would not date. I would not date until I felt that I had some type of financial solvency as a woman. This is my story. It does not have to be yours. For myself, I could not have a man coming in and tantalizing me with finances because of a previous lifestyle that I had. I had to know that that previous lifestyle that I had, that I could create that alone. And when God was able to show me that I could create that previous lifestyle that I had alone, that's when I started dating. That's my story. That's my story.
So that's a powerful story. Really, pray about it. Ask the Holy Spirit. Don't let it just be a flesh move or a carnal move. Or for mine is that I didn't like being alone. I wanted company. I wanted to pat and feel and touch and rub, and I was coming from such a love addiction, so I needed to pat and feel and touch and rub. So I immediately reached out, so we had different things going on, but all of these things, they come up and out so that they can be healed. And if you really go through the healing process and let the divorce do in you what it's supposed to do, which is to heal you, to perfect you, to make it better, you'll come out better on the other side. But it's through a process. And the Bible says he who has begun a good work in you. It may not look good. It may not feel good, but it is working together for your good. And it is a process that you're going through. So there is life after divorce. Forever doesn't mean eternity, and you still can recover. You can live. LaTanya is a testimony that God will restore. That God will restore the years that the locust and the canker and the palmer worm have eaten, that God will restore you, but it is a process. It's not the same life after divorce. It's a new life, but there is life after divorce.
And let me just end on that, because we are at the 12:30 mark. And so for me, like he said, very different, very different. Listen, he kept the marital home. He had the finances. So on my part, there was really a sense of rebuilding. And I said to you, he kept the majority of the friends. So there was so much that I had to do on my end. So much that I have had to do on my end. And I just want to encourage, especially women, I'm an advocate for women for that perspective, is that, but I was able to do it. I was able to do it with faith and trust in God. I was able to do it. I was able to build a career. I've been on my job for 15 years now. I moved through the rank of professorship. I walked in as an assistant, became an associate professor. Now I'm a full professor. I'm finishing up my doctoral studies 2020. So I was able to, not the same life, have a very different life than the life that I shared with him. But the life I shared with him, because of my faith in God, God was able to allow me to experience that life as a single woman, as a single person, still traveling all over the world, no longer with a spouse, but now I'm traveling because God is the source. That traveling is now coming through my job. I spent a month in Italy. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to Costa Rica twice, and the things that, and been to Jamaica, and different things that, and anytime we're going somewhere, LaTanya, you want a room with me? Nope, I don't have to room with nobody. How much does it cost? I'll be in a cabin by myself, or a cabin with my son, or if you gonna room with me, I stay in suites, because that's the life I had with my ex-husband. So now I'm a single woman able to have that same kind of lifestyle. No, it did not happen overnight. No, it didn't take place overnight, but it did happen. And it happened with a lot of sweat. It happened with a lot of tears. I remember some days I would go to work, drive home during lunch break, cross over the door, the threshold of my apartment door, lay prostrate right there at my apartment door, cry my eyes out, get up pat my eyes up, get back in my car, and go to work to finish out the door. So no, I hope that we are not making it sound that it was easy. So I want you to hear it was not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it's been worth it. Every sweat, every tear, everything that I have gone through has been worth it. And what I tell people today, there is no story, none, absolutely no story of my life that I would want to have that does not include being married to Bishop Dr. Darrell R. Pulley. He gave me the greatest gift that I have ever had in this life, and that is our son. And no journey that I could have taken that does not include Darrell R. Pulley II would not be worth taking. So every slash, every hit, every stingy, every ounce of pain, every ounce of losing friends, family, every slander I have gotten, every she crazy, everything that I have taken, every behind whipping that I have taken to be the person that is sitting right here today. I am telling you, and I'm declaring and decreeing, it was worth it to become the woman that I am today, to experience what I have in my son. My son called me to experience the love that I have with my son, this greatest gift and to be able to experience the friends who have now showed up in my life as I've done the work. You got to do the work. Just because we are saved, just because we love God, the work does not happen by osmosis. It happens by you unpacking, facing, peeling away the layers and doing the work to get to the good. We're done.
Absolutely.
Amen.
And LaTanya, I sent you a text. We got some other topics. This is not the end of us working through some stuff. We got some other topics to talk about. So y'all stay tuned. You'll see some more flyers and some more topics because we got some more story to tell. We just getting started, y'all.
Amen. This was, and I've not had the journey of being married, but even somebody that is single, I've benefited from listening and learning in this conversation. So I just want to personally say thank you for sharing your testimony.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Producer and host.
Well, as we are getting ready to wrap up, if you all have any more questions, leave them in the chat. We'll make sure that that Pastor LaTanya and Dr. Pulley see those questions. And we will continue this conversation. I'm excited to see what those other F's were. We focused on a few of them today, but I want to know.
We can't never get to the. You know what? We're gonna have to stop. The first time it was 7. This was 5. So we're gonna have to stick with 3. I don't like not finishing things when you.
Well, that just brings part 3. That just brings the next thing that we got to talk about.
But let's just tell them what the 5 F's were. I at least feel better about that. Please tell them what the 5 F's were.
Family, friends, finances, fellowship and ministry, and future dating.
Okay. So at least
the fellowship and ministry piece is what we didn't cover. But I do desire for us to come back and talk about what it means to be a ministry couple, and then when your ministry breaks and goes in separate directions, because we were very strong, powerful ministry couple. So I felt
and the truth of the matter is fellowship and ministry certainly all by itself probably needed to be a separate topic, because when you are co-pastoring, first lady, or whatever term somebody want to say, when you are apostolic and a prophetic team, that affected so many people ministry wise. So that's outside of family, that's outside of future dating, that's outside of friends, that's outside, because all of those other things were very personal to us as individuals, and we see some of our spiritual children that we begot on here with us today. So that fellowship part in ministry could be a whole nother separate thing for other pastors and leaders who might be thinking about divorce. And so many pastors and leaders who have gotten divorced as well, and whatever their stories and testimonies are, and in the time of that post, how long it has taken for them to come to a platform like this and be able to share and hopefully help and benefit and bless other people. I just want to say this real quick. I want to thank Patrick also for just being so kind to just jump in and really do this. Our son was doing this for us last last time, but he's taking the GRE this morning. Y'all send some prayers with him. So we're sending prayers and well wishes for him for his next journey. And so thank you so much, Patrick, for being able to just jump right in and say, certainly it is my pleasure to give up some time on a Saturday morning. And to all of you out there, thank you for joining Perfect Water Worship Center as we are bringing to you different things that just can help edify you and help build you up and help unpack some things for you. Yes, Tamika, unpack. That's our word, unpack, so that you can get to be and live and have the experience that the Lord would like for you to have in him. In Jesus' name, we bless you so much. Until next time.